Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily, the early edition. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. In the UK, it's actually a bank holiday weekend. It doesn't seem like that. It was actually Lee Judges who reminded me of that last night on last night's show, that this is a bank holiday weekend. That's how crazy it is at the moment. It's like every day just seems like every other day. I mean, so it would have been like a real weekend of celebration. I think over in America as well. Is it Memorial Weekend? So it's just not normal at the moment. But we just got to give thanks that we're still here and we're still alive right now, and just try and make the best of a bad situation. That's what they're doing over in Germany at the moment. The Bundesliga continuing over there this weekend for the second weekend. There was a game last night. Massive derby, this one. Hertha Berlin versus Union Berlin. And, when they played the previous game, the previous derby, which hadn't gone on for a long time because basically Union Berlin, they've always been in the lower leagues. It was crazy. The atmosphere, there was fireworks on the pitch, literally, this one now played behind closed doors in complete silence, literally. It was very unusual because it would have been a huge game. Hertha Berlin coming out on top. It was Union Berlin who won the first game, but Hertha Berlin coming out on top in this one, winning by 4-0. So massive win for them. And very disappointing for my adopted team, Union Berlin. That's 2 they've lost in a row. There's games continuing, of course, in the Bundesliga today. Bayern Munich taking on Frankfurt. The other standout games, Borussia Mönchengladbach versus Bayer Leverkusen. That's probably the game of the day. Both of those teams battling to get into the top 4. And Borussia Dortmund go to Wolfsburg to take them. And Wolfsburg have been having a pretty torrid time this season. And of course, we saw Dortmund last week. They were absolutely flying. Now, don't forget to check out all our predictions for those games. Me and Troops did that yesterday in the Bias Premier League show. We should call it the Bias Bundesliga show at the moment, shouldn't we? But yeah, it was really entertaining predicting those results, and those games continue today. And of course, over in the Premier League, players are back in training. We saw Arsenal players yesterday in training. Look at Aubameyang's hair; that's higher than Troops's. It just goes to show that even the multi-millionaires cannot have access to a barber right now. So none of those fancy hairstyles. None of those, lines and all those things. He's literally growing an afro there. But it was good to see some of the players back in training. And, yeah, it looks, by all what you could see there, it looks like a lot of those players are very happy to be back in training. And, a lot of them were sort of messaging and tweeting and saying that as well, that, it's great to be back, good to be back in training and stuff like that. So, that was good to see. That was good to see. You start to think to yourself, maybe we could see the Premier League come back, even though the behind closed doors thing, we just hope that's not going to be for too long, but it does look like he's returning. Now, on the Aubameyang thing, could that whole talk about a swap deal, could that be all dead? Mario Icardi, who was being linked with a move to Arsenal in a possible swap deal, with Aubameyang. Well, yesterday we're hearing that PSG are going to be trying to make his deal permanent. Remember, he was on loan to PSG last season, and he did very well, scoring over 20 goals on that loan move. PSG now looking to make that loan move a permanent deal, taking him from Inter Milan, which would suit all sides. I mean, he was very happy over there at PSG. He's fallen out, as we know, big time with all the Inter Milan hierarchy and fans. So it suits all sides for him to make this move permanent, and it is starting to look like that will happen, which will rule out any sort of swap deal for Aubameyang going to Inter Milan, and hopefully makes the likelihood of Aubameyang staying at the Emirates more likely. So let's see how that one shapes out. Now, also linked to a youngster today who plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Well, he's a Borussia Mönchengladbach player. He's never actually played for the first team yet. He's not made his debut yet for the first team. But his name is Kane Kurt. He's 18 and plays as a fullback on the right-hand side. He's got a contract with Borussia Mönchengladbach to 2022. But despite the fact that he's not made a debut yet for them, there's a lot of clubs looking at him and a lot of clubs interested in him. This is that sort of interesting phenomenon where you have teams going to watch players playing in youth games and playing in other games and under 21s and under 23 games. I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's a talent. And yet still that player can't even get into the first team of that club. A bit like Jadon Sancho, isn't it? When he went to, Borussia Dortmund, they saw him playing in all the sort of under 23 games. So this guy's very highly rated, Turkish heritage, Kane Kurt. And Arsenal are said to be interested in him. Chelsea also very interested in him as well. Would be available for around about £4 million, so it'd be cheap. You can see at Arsenal what they're trying to do is build on youth, getting young, hungry, talented players into the team that can become the future. So let's see how this one pans out. But Arsenal taking a look at him. They're also looking at a very experienced fullback, this time on the left-hand side. And his name is Nicolas Tagliafico, a very good player, plays for Ajax. He's 27 now, so still a decent age, and said to be available for around about £20 million. Has been at Ajax for, since 2018, has done really well. There's said to be an agreement with Ajax to let him go. They wanted him to stay on for another season. Remember, the Dutch league cancelled early, as we all know, and he's been linked very heavily with a move to Arsenal. It's kind of strange to understand all these left backs getting linked into this position because, as I've said a few times, we seem to be pretty stocked up in the left back position. You've got Kolasinac, Kieran Tierney, of course, who we've already heard the manager saying, that he's looking forward to giving him a run of games in the team and getting him playing. But we're still getting linked to all these left backs, Kolasinac. Did I say? Yeah, Kolasinac and Saka. That's three potential players that can play in that position. Why would we want to go and buy another for £20 million, especially at a time like this where money is not, readily available? Hold that, keep the 20 million back and use that towards getting Partey or somebody like that. I don't understand these links, but they're continually being made for the left back position. Now, whether this is just their newspaper talk or whether there are, there is anything in this, I really don't know. But we don't want to, we made that mistake last year, really, when you check about it. In reality, I was really excited when we got Nicolas Pepe, but did we really need that? Was that the priority? The priority really was a defender, and we didn't get it. The priority, again, is either defender or holding midfielder, and we're looking at left backs, according to the reports. To me, I don't know. I'm skeptical because I just don't see the need. Tagliafico's a good player. Don't get me wrong, very good player, but I don't think we have a problem in the left back position. If we get Tierney fit, that is going to be, as Arsene Wenger used to say, like a new signing. And it really will be because he's played so few games, and him being under Arteta, I think, will really improve him. And if he can't, then you've got Kolasinac there. And if not Kolasinac, you've got Saka there. So I don't see the need for somebody on the left. The right-hand position, maybe I can more see that. And even then, we've got Cedric, who we bought in. I know he's on loan. You've got Maitland-Niles. You've got Bellerin. So I want us to look at the priority areas right now because we've got to deal with first things first, isn't it? But we are, again, being linked with another left back. Now, a player that's been linked with a move away today is Mustafi. Mustafi, who, to be fair to him, since Arteta's come in, has been playing well. I thought some of his better performances that he's had for a very long time since he's been at Arsenal. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, he'll definitely be staying on at Arsenal. You know, he's got a year left after this year, but I was just thinking to myself, Arsenal will be looking to keep him. Well, talk today that he could be on the move this summer to AC Milan for as little as £10 million as well. He's 28 now. And as I said, at the end of this season, he'll only have 1 year left on his contract. AC Milan, of course, we know who's in the CEO there in charge is, of course, Ivan Gazidis, who was responsible for buying Mustafi in the first place for 35 million. Then now he's going to bring him back to another club for 10 million, which would represent a loss of 25 million to Arsenal. But the thing is, should we be getting rid of him for such a low price, or is it worth keeping him on until his contract runs out? Because as I said, he was performing pretty decently under Arteta. So it's interesting to find out what you guys think. But linked today with a move away to AC Milan for only £10 million. So that's not a lot. That's not a lot considering what we paid for him. But do you look on it and just say, it don't matter, let's move on from him? Or do you think he's done a decent job? You know, let's see how, you know, if he can continue that on and build on that. Interesting to hear what you guys will have to say on that. The story of Sire Kolasinac's wife is a brilliant one that I was reading about today. Kolasinac's wife, Bella, she was been let off with a caution after she was found entering the UK with a stun gun last week Sunday, according to reports. She had a stun gun on her. I think she was coming on a private jet from Germany, and she got caught with this stun gun. What seems to have saved her from, you know, arrest and getting into serious trouble is the fact that she had asked about, she had asked the authorities, I think before she left, whether it's legal to have a stun gun, or I think she does, not exactly the authorities, but the airline that she was traveling on. So apparently she'd asked them, is it okay for her to bring it on the flight? And when they let her know to say, no, actually, you can't bring a stun gun into England, because she's actually got a permit to carry it in Germany. By the time they let her know, she was already on the flight on the way over, and they then notified the authorities in the UK. When she got off the private jet, they searched her, found it, detained her for a bit, cautioned her, said that, no, this is not right, and she's been let off. Obviously, one of the main reasons she got this stun gun in the first place was we all remember what happened to Kolasinac and Mesut Ozil when they were attacked. Thankfully, they caught those guys. Those guys have been locked up for a very long time in prison. And that's why she was carrying the stun gun. And I'll tell you what, some of these footballers, you know, at the moment, and particularly their families, have been really targeted, because a lot of times they seem to target families when they're, you know, they know the players are away and stuff like that. So you can understand why she might want to take this measure in self-defense, but you can't have a stun gun over here in the UK, and she could have got herself into some serious trouble. I think the airline done her a big favor and saved her there. So thankfully for Kolasinac, she's not sitting in a cell right now, and she's been let off with a caution. Let's get into it. Great story, that one. But listen, I can understand it, you know. I get why she done it, man. You know what I mean? Because, you know, husband being robbed. Then there was something where, remember, there was some people who turned up at Ozil's house after that. You know, you saw the thing the other day with Dele Alli and stuff like that. It must be, you know, you can understand why some of these players, as I said, and families will be very worried at this time. Right, let's get into some of your comments. I've got one straight away here from Kenneth Lynch. He says, spending money in the wrong areas has been Arsenal's downfall for years. Thanks very much for that, Kenneth Lynch. And he's got a point. That is exactly it. We've been spending the money a lot of times in the wrong areas, and we've got to get that right. We really do have to get that right. Final Salute says, sell Torreira and replace him with Calvin Phillips. There's been a lot of shout recently for Calvin Phillips of Leeds. He is a very good player. Jan says, these links are being made because no matter which position players plays, Kroenke is going to buy the cheapest one if he will spend. If it's cheap, he'll be buying 20 players in the same position. Andrew reminds me that Saka hasn't even signed the team yet. He hasn't. I'll be very surprised if he didn't sign on. I mean, it'd be disastrous for Arsenal if that deal wasn't done. Is that sort of like a little frightener for Saka that, you know what, if you think you can hold us to ransom, there's other people we can go and get? I don't know. We should be nailing down the Saka deal. This guy says, why would Tagliafico leave Ajax, habitual league champions and regular Champions League participants, to come to Arsenal, who are neither? Thing called money, because the sort of money you'll be getting at Ajax will be nothing compared to what you get at Arsenal. And then also, you know what, even though Ajax are habitual Champions League team, it's a lower profile playing for Ajax, just how it is. They are a great club, but it's a much lower profile playing for Ajax over there in the Eredivisie when you could be playing in the Premier League. Every player wants to play in the biggest leagues, and the biggest leagues are the Premier League, La Liga, those ones, Serie A, you know, Bundesliga, but the league that's got the most money and is the highest profile league out of all of them is the Premier League. And that's why a lot of players want to come here. This guy says, I'm tired of Arsenal interesting in players and never buy them. Well, remember, at this time of year, it is going to be an interest because the season hasn't finished yet. Remember that. The season hasn't finished yet. So everybody is a link at the moment because deals can't be done until after the season is finished. Of course, it would normally have finished already, but it's not. Brendan says, only people we should keep are Tierney and Saliba. Jeez, that is a big clear out. Surprise Skay says, Mustafi is not going anywhere. Well, I'm just telling you about the links that about today. So, you know, Danny Ray says, why do you listen to all the newspapers? They ain't true. We were linked with Zaha the whole of the last window, and we got Pepe, and no one had a clue. Now, hold on, Danny. Nobody's saying we're listening to papers. What we do is we take a look at the rumors and see what could be genuine and what might not be genuine. And we were linked. You are right. We were linked with Zaha the whole of the last window, and those were proper links. You've heard since then that Unai Emery come out and saying that he wanted Zaha. He'd spoken to Zaha. Zaha wanted to come. So those rumors were true. It's just that in the end, we chose to get Pepe instead. But there was nothing wrong with the rumors linking us with Zaha. They were real rumors. We were interested in buying him. And remember, all of these that you are hearing about, a lot of times they are rumors. Sometimes they are things that the club have made inquiries. You make inquiries, that doesn't mean you're definitely going to get a player. So, you know, Flo says he's staying. Blood, fake news. So he, I want to know what you think, as I said, on that whole Mustafi thing. Keep or sell. TZ says the reason why Robbie, because Tierney is injury prone, Kolasinac is probably leaving, and Saka isn't a natural left back, possibly. But I just don't think at this moment in time that's the worry. That is not the worry. You know, I mean, let's concentrate on the areas where we. You know, I mean, Tierney is injury prone. That means, all right, then don't sell Kolasinac. And you've got Saka who can cover there. So I don't see, you know, deal with the other areas first where we have the bigger problems. Guna Gamer TV says 10 million is outrageous. That's the fee that they're talking about for Mustafi. You got to be real. Is he worth, at this moment in time, with the career that he's had since he's been at Arsenal, is he worth more than 10 million? 15 million maybe? No more than that. Black Badger says we got him for 30 million, sell him. So he doesn't care about any losses. He's like, get rid. Terry says, what are the clubs seeing that we aren't? Surely it is so obvious what Arsenal needs. and who we should get rid of. I just don't get it. Well, we've seen that many a times over the years, you know, so it happens. Andrew says it's not even transfer window yet. People need to wake up. It's not the transfer window yet, but rumors after rumors are flooding in. King's the Opera says we didn't need Pepe when we got him, but whenever a top player is available, it is wise to snatch him. If he ain't a top player, then let's keep the 20 million and use that for Partey. Now, that's a great point that he makes there, that sometimes a special talent just becomes available and you wasn't really looking to buy that player, but that player becomes available and you're just like, oh, nah, man, we can't afford to let this one go. Let's go and get him. So that is a good point that he makes there. Maybe that is why we decided to get Pepe. And also, if you remember what Unai Emery was saying on that whole Pepe Zaha thing, he wanted Zaha first and foremost, but he was like, it was so difficult to do that deal because of, you know, Palace were driving such a tough deal to get it done. The Pepe one was much easier to get done. It's just a matter of putting the money on the table and we can do it. Packer485 says, hey, Robbie, news is that Arsenal have offered Cedric a 3-year contract. I want to see him play first. I want to see what he does from now till the end of the season before we start thinking about offering him them sort of deals. Of course, you know, it'd be a cheap deal, wouldn't it? So he's available on a free. That's why. London Falcon says, as good as Mustafi has been playing under Arteta, add a release clause of 100 million to him. Yeah, you want to keep him forever. Oh dear. Oh, you guys are funny, man. Let's get a few more here. Oh, it's backing up on me here. It's backing up on me. Bam says, deep down, we needed Pepe. We needed a winger, and Zaha was first choice, obviously, but Pepe, a better prospect. People are dumb if they can't see that. Also, don't forget Pepe is younger. So, again, you know, and Zaha would have been more expensive. Stilo says, we need proper investment in the team. Hopefully, Dangote buys Kroenke. Then we can step up to the next level. Winfred Tom says, if Gazidis got us Mustafi 35 million, we can negotiate with him to sell him for 40 million. Well, he won't buy him for 40 million, will he? You know what I mean? Gazidis is no idiot, you know. So yeah, he will be getting himself a little bit of a deal. He'll be looking on it. Callum says, Aubameyang has signed a new contract. Done and dusted. Don't worry, Robbie. He's been talking to Claude. Let's hope that is true. You know, we could do with a bit of good news on that front, couldn't it? Lord's official says, hi, Robbie. What about the FA Cup? Is it going to be cancelled or any news on it? We have a European chance through the FA Cup. It's true. They've not really revealed. I mean, my understanding is that they are going to finish the FA Cup as well. But how and when, you know? But my understanding is, you know, that is the intention, is to finish the FA Cup. But as I said, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to do it. Is the Premier League games is obviously finishing that is the absolute priority. Odyssey says, if we're only going to get 10 million for Mustafi, we may as well keep him. Pineapple Fruit Dude said, if you were a betting man, Robbie, which player would you place your money on to join Arsenal this summer? Do you know what? Right? You can always suggest a load of the cheap players that we've been linked with, like, you know, and I think Mari will stay at Arsenal, but then that's not really going out and biting because he's already here in a way. I mean, honestly, I think if Torreira leaves, it wouldn't surprise me if we got Partey. Wouldn't. If Torreira goes, it wouldn't surprise me that we got Partey because we're going to have to need a replacement. We get a decent amount for Torreira, and then it'd be a matter of adding on top to get Partey. So, and that would be adding some real quality to the team. So for me, if I saw that happen, if Torreira went, which that could happen because, you know, listening to his agent, he definitely would like to leave. There'd be quite a few clubs in Italy, I think, who would be interested. And then I think, you know, if he left, I could see Partey coming. I really could. So that's what I'd bet on, but only if Torreira left. Let's get some more. The London Falcon says, "Hey Robbie, what about giving the number 7 shirt to Martinelli? It would be iconic." Love from Nepal. Hey Robbie, what about? He says it again. Listen, forget what shirts to give him. Let's just take our time with this kid and let him grow. He's going to be a fantastic player. He really is a brilliant player, and I'm so excited to see him next season. Dalen Hayes says, "Get your brother on. He is a great presenter." Oh, don't tell him that too much. Of course, him and Curtis do the Talk Is Cheap show. Great show. It's a really good watch. Beach says the transfer window will be awkward this year as there will be a 2-week break in between the conclusion of this season and the start of next season. It is going to be really rushed. Whether they extend out the date, because you know, like with the Premier League, they're sort of like the only team that's been doing this thing where they get the transfers done before the start of the next season. But there was talk even last season of changing that, so it may not happen that way this time around. So I'm going to do a last couple here. Simon says Tagliafico would be the best player in your back four. So he is a very good player, but there's more important players to get. You know, for me, you know, there's more priority signings right now than Tagliafico, and he's a good player. I know if we didn't have a left back, I'd be like, yeah, let's, you know, but no, I don't think that's what we need right now. Matty Martin says Saka must sign a new contract, and I agree with you 100%. Chantier says, why would Tagliafico, have I not done this one already? Yeah, I've already done that one. And I already explained that one, the reason why being the dollars would be a big reason why he'd want to go. Mohammed says, Orera, I can never pronounce that, Orera, shirt is in Lacazette's changing seat at the training ground. I saw it when I was on JG's tour. Okay. That'd be a good signing if he came in, but again, be an expensive signing. We do need, I think midfield is starting to look like one of the areas of real importance for Arsenal that we really need to sort out, because the midfield has just not been functioning as well as it should do. Right, let's get this one. This guy here, Jean-Pierre says, hi Robbie, I think we need to sell some of the deadwood like Socrates, Mustafi, Chambers, El Neni, Mkhitaryan, Mavropanos and Niles. Also need to add players like Partey and Upamecano. All sounds so easy. Mark said we should not sell our best players, period. 100%. We've got to keep hold of our best players. And I'm going to do this one as a last one. This guy says we need Konate, Golovin and Kluivert, not more left backs, and we don't need more left backs. I think we're all right with what we've got at the moment in that department. Let's strengthen the areas where we need it. Thanks for watching the show today. Don't forget, we'll be back again this evening with the evening edition. Have yourself a fantastic day here today on Saturday, and we'll see you later on.